Welcome students. Today we are going to study Howard-Sheth model of consumer behavior. So there were two persons, John Howard and Jagdish Sheth. So put forward the Howard-Sheth model of consumer behavior in 1969 in their publication entitled The Theory of Buyer Behavior. The Howard-Sheth model is a sophisticated integration of the various social, psychological, and marketing influences on consumer choice into a coherent sequence of information processing. So this model tried to explain about the social elements or a social stimuli, psychological behavior of the consumer, and the marketing influences, the promotional activity and marketing activity made by the firms, how it impact on the choosing of product or services by the consumer, and how the information is also processed. And this model aims not only to explain consumer behavior in terms of cognitive functioning, but to provide empirical, testable depiction of such behavior and its outcomes. So, uh, if if you see this model try to explain about overall the inputs and outputs and how a consumer decide the purchasing with some of the different variables. So the logic of Howard-Sheth model of consumer behavior summarizes like this. So inputs in the form of stimuli, and there are outputs beginning with attention to a given stimulus and ending with purchases. And in this input and output, and there are some variables affecting the perception and learning. So perception, how a consumer perceives, and the learning by the consumer. And these variables are termed as hypothetical because they cannot be directly measured at the time of occurrence. So, and Howard-Sheth model behavior suggests three levels of decision making. The first one is extensive problem solving. So extensive problem solving is where when the consumer is not having any basic information or any knowledge about the product or a brand or what services which is going to purchase, and even is not having any preferences toward any product. So what happens in this situation is the consumer tried to seek more and more information about all the different brands available in the market before purchasing the product. So he goes into detailed study and he will go for detailed information and evaluate all the product available in the market of all the brands. And coming to the next is limited problem solving. This model, this level says, and this situation exists for consumers. So these consumers are having little knowledge about the market, or you can say partial knowledge, and whatever they want to purchase. So in order to arrive at a brand preference, some comparative brand information is sought. They will go for some little more information because they are having already a little information about the brand and products. So third is habitual response behavior. So this is daily routine behavior of the consumer, where the consumer know all the brands available in the market and he can easily differentiate between the different characteristics of each product, and he already decides to purchase a particular product. So in this, he is already experienced, he is already learned, he is having all information about the products and brands, he can easily differentiate. So he will directly, easily can decide the product which he is going to purchase. Now coming to the model of Howard-Sheth. So if we see here, so we will find four aspects. We can say first one is input stimuli display. Okay, so we can say input stimuli display. So here we will find significative stimulus, symbolic, and social. So if you see in this particular model, the input stimuli says the first input stimuli is significative quality. So significative quality, you can say the quality, the price, the distinctiveness, and service availability. So these are those actual elements of brands which the buyer confronts or looking for. And coming to the symbolic stimuli, okay, coming to the symbolic stimuli. So here, actually, these are those which are used by marketers to represent their products in a symbolic form. So these efforts are already always made by the marketers or the firms, which they talk about quality of their product, price, distinctiveness, service, and availability. And the third stimuli is social stimuli. So these are generated by the social environment, such as family, friend groups, etc. So these will lead to input stimulus display. Now, coming to the next, that is hypothetical construct, which has two things. The first one is, we can say, perceptual construct, and second one is learning construct. So in these model, the model proposes a number of intervening variables which have been categorized into two major groups. So first, already I told you the perceptual construct, and second one is learning construct. So in perceptual construct, which includes sensitivity to information. So the degree to which the buyer regulates the stimulus information flow. So that all fall under the sensitivity to information that comes under perceptual construct. And second is perceptual bias, so which refers to distorting or twisting kind of or altering type of information which a consumer receives. And the third is search for information. It involves actively seeking information on the brands or their characteristics. So these all three fall under perceptual construct. Now moving to learning constructs. So if you see learning construct, so learning construct category, consumers goals, information about the brands, criteria for evaluation alternatives, preferences, and buying intentions are all included. So here the consumer is only learning constructs, which is following, and the proposed interaction in between the different variables in the perceptual and learning construct and other sets give the model its distinctive advantage. So in between input and output, so customer goes under a perceptual construct and learning construct. Now coming to the output variables, if we see here output variables, so here we find attention and we comprehension, brand comprehension, attitude, then intention, then the purchase behavior of the consumer. So the first means the attention. So based on the importance of the buyer's information intake. So attention is all about how a buyer take the information. So based on the importance. And the second is comprehension. The store of information the buyer has about the brand in his mind. And the third is attitude. The buyer evaluation of the particular brand's potential to satisfy his or her motives. So that says about attitude. And the coming to the attention part, the brand which the buyer intends to buy. So at the end, the customer will go for the purchasing decision. So the act of actually purchasing, which reflects the buyer's predisposition to buy, as modified by any of inhibitors. So this model does input stimuli, output stimuli. In between them, we have hypothetical constructs, that is perceptual construct, and there is learning construct. So the last variable, we can say exogenous or external variables. So exogenous variables are not directly part of the decision-making process, but however, some relevant exogenous variables include the importance of the purchase, consumer personality traits, sometimes religious aspects, and sometimes time pressure. So these we can say the external variables, but not directly, but indirectly they are affected towards the decision-making process. So we have studied about today Howard Sheth model. So thank you very much.